Good morning. Welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Report, October the 15th, 2019. It's 9:32 according to our atomic clock. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Here.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
All present?
Thank you. Carl, I need a favor. Can you come up, lead us in the pledge, a prayer, and yes, sir. Prayer and pledge, please.
Good morning. This is the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Okay, let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together to do community business. We ask your guidance and your direction, and we thank you in advance. In the name of Jesus, and everybody said,
Amen.
Carl, thank you. Treasurer's report, Canaan.
The treasurer's transfer report was dated for October 14th through today, October the 15th, for your approval.
motion.
Second.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, second by Third District Magistrate Laswell. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
Motion to approve all bills.
Got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Rahill, second by Third District Magistrate Laswell to pay all bills. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The Treasurer's report, Canaan.
Thank you, sir. In that packet is an appropriation condition report, a warrant distribution, a monthly revenue journal, a funds receipt report, an expenditure transfer, a revenue transfer, and a financial statement due September the 30th of 2019 for your approval.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Second District Magistrate Logston to approve the Treasurer's report. Thank you, Canaan. Call the roll, Sam.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Canaan. Action item number 7, approval of minutes for October the 1st, 2019.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Rahill, a second by Third District Magistrate Laswell to approve the minutes of October 1st, 2019. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We have no presentations at this time, but under old business, we need to, I'm going to make the motion to reappoint Jay Patel and Kerry Gandhi to the Bullitt County Tourist and Convention Commission. We appointed them last time to the hospitality part of it, and they need to be appointed this time to the commission. And the term is to expire on 9/30/2022.
Second.
Got a second by Fourth District Magistrate Rahill. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Loxton?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Under new business, the second reading of zoning ordinance 2019-T-29, Charles Lumpkin. Rob?
This will be the second reading. The Common Kentucky County Bullitt zoning ordinance number 19-20. An ordinance relating to changing the zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 2.89 acres more or less, located at 8302 Dixon Lane in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County to the evidence of public hearing held by the Planning Commission, on the recommendations of the Commission, whereas the fiscal court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the planning commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the planning commission in this matter as set out in 7 minutes. And now therefore be ordained by the fiscal court, County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the planning commission in document number 2019-Z-29, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this order shall take effect upon passage and publication. Section 3, change section provision of part of this order to be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, and the remainder of this order shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Give the first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the first day of October 2019. Give the second reading and vote upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 15th day of October 2019.
Thank you, Rob. I'm going to put that in form of a motion to approve the recommendation from the planning commission.
I second.
Got a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell. Any discussion? Sam, call roll.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Rob, second reading of zoning ordinance 2019Z-30, Clara S. and Daniel Ewing.
Second reading of Commonwealth of Kentucky County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 19-21, an ordinance relates to changing the zoning of certain property from agricultural to conservation. The property in question is 4 acres more or less, located at 715 Wilderness Way in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the fiscal court of Bullitt County, through the evidence of public hearing held by the planning commission and the recommendations of the commission, whereas the fiscal court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the planning commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the planning commission in this matter as set out in 7 minutes. And now therefore be ordained by the fiscal court, County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the planning commission in document number 2019-Z-30, is hereby changed from agricultural to conservation. Section 2, this ordinance takes effect upon passage and publication. Section 3, change section provision of part of this ordinance to be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the first day of October 2019. Given second reading and vote upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 15th day of October 2019.
Thank you, Rob.
I move we follow the recommendations of the planning commission on 2019 Z-30.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 4th District Magistrate Grayhill to approve the zoning ordinance 2019Z-30. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob. Okay, actions requested now. Kevin, you're welcome to speak about this if you want to, but to cut checks for the poll workers for this upcoming general election for the constitutional officers in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'm putting that form of motion.
Second.
Okay, got a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Second, action is requested to promote EMS personnel by Ms. Johnson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are requesting to promote Amber Johnson, which is no relation to full-time supervisor at the fire. We are also requesting to appoint 2 filling supervisors, which would be Sherry Gooden and Rob Moster. If this is approved, they will be eligible to start on October the 16th. We are requesting an additional $1 an hour for Amber Johnson and $1 an hour for Sherry and Rob in the event they should have to perform supervisor duties. Sherry Schaffner, who has completed all the requirements of the advanced EMT program, she should receive an additional $2 on the hour and receive back pay from September 25th.
Need a motion on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in form of a motion for the promotion of those mentioned, and also with the advanced EMT.
I'll second it. Do the roll.
Got a second by First District Magistrate Mitchell. Any discussion?
How many supervisors will that raise to total?
4, and 2 full, relief supervisors.
For some of y'all that haven't met Ms. Johnson, she's accepted a position as operations duty officer daily. She takes care of all the operations, getting ambulances out, people there. And she's been doing this for 3 or 4 weeks now, doing an exceptional job. She's doing a good job of getting EMS people out and getting where they need to be and keeping them on the road.
I think, this is one of our original ones. I remember just, I ain't tell how long it was, it's been a long time, but she's done an exceptional good job. She's been a very faithful employee. She really is. And I appreciate what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the recommendations by Ms. Johnson, the Ops Manager EMS. Sam, call roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Longston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all for all you do.
Thank you.
I'm going to skip action item number 5. Put that back to old business for the November, I believe it's 5th meeting. Okay. Action item number 6, health insurance plan from our new carrier, Phil Brown, who's KCO. Phil, you're welcome to discuss it for a minute, or if not, we'll.
I want to ask you,
Go ahead.
when the agents come out and everything, I would love to sit down with them and look over these plans that are put together and everything, and possibly get a meeting together with them, one of the agents, and do a new proposal and everything. Can it be done?
We gotta go on.
Please?
We gotta go on.
Well, we will vote on everything, but I just wanted to ask you.
So, I mean, if we don't have a whole lot of time,
Yeah.
we have, well, renewal,
Yeah, we have, what happens, Dennis, is we had a group of people that met with Scott last week, and he presented us with options, all the options that,
I've got those.
okay, yeah. And as you can see, we recommended, a policy that he was gonna introduce, and have you all vote on it. It would save the county money as well as the employees.
I know it is and everything, but I still would like to just have a meeting with him, if I do it myself, I don't care.
Yeah,
You know, and I would love to do that, and I don't have any problem with what we're gonna vote on.
okay.
No, and that's what I thought you were saying, is that you just want to discuss individually with them
I do.
about the different options.
Right,
And this is something that we voted on back in
correct.
8-1, to change carriers.
I think it'd be a good thing, we went to one of the KCO conferences, and I think it'd be a good thing to invite all the employees in on something like that, because there are so many, I know when I first started, there are so many different levels and different plans that it can become a little bit overwhelming at times. I think it'd be a good gesture to maybe invite them in and have like an open session for all county employees that this affects, in order for them to determine what might be the best case scenario for them.
We do. We give them the option, there's 3 separate policies that they'll be able to choose from, and it is going to be a mandatory open enrollment.
Okay.
For all employees, I mean, to get any benefits, it's going to be mandatory. So that's where they would be explained, you know, at that time, they would go through all the levels.
Do we have a date or a place that's gonna happen?
We're waiting on this. Once we get this voted on, then he's going to set up open enrollments, because deductions have to start in December, because we pay month prior to.
Very good, I appreciate it. That's all I
May I
have.
ask, now, are you all included, is the county sheriff's employees and my folks over at
Sheriff's
dispatch, they're all
clerk.
included in this as well?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm with Dennis, I would like to, as soon as it's convenient, I would like to take a meet with you and find out the details so that I can be sure that the word gets to, all the folks over at SO.
Yeah, be glad to do that, yeah, sure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
well, Geneva was in that meeting with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
she voted as well.
okay.
That's all I have. Okay.
Any other discussion? And we'll set up the meetings and the times today. you know, if the vote's favorable, we can move forward.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Is it a year contract or, you know, as we go?
He was gonna explain everything.
Oh, sure.
It's okay. We'll accept the apology this time.
Yes,
One good time.
the Humana plan that were recommended that offered some savings is a one-year contract. They do offer a cap on the second year increase based on how the claims run. There are some caveats with that cap, but it is an option if they're getting for the second year. But it's a one-year rate guarantee. Some of the other coverages have a 2-year rate guarantee. The health insurance is one. You're not locked in for that amount of time, but they are locked in, not to rate the rates for those amount of time.
Any other discussion? I'm putting in the form of a motion to accept Mr. Brown's proposal, and it's a subsidiary of KCO.
So,
Got a second by 4th District Magistrate Rayhill. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Longston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Yes,
Thank you so
sir.
much.
And this time we have for sign-in speakers, Terry Cook.
Yes, sir.
Not Terry. Fine, how about you? Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Perry Cook. I'm the Executive Director of Markswell Ministries. We operate the Bullitt County White Flag Shelter. You may be familiar with the shelter that we ran last winter to help homeless people during inclement weather, emergency weather, and then the climate got below 35 degrees. We opened the shelter and we hosted it right down the road here at Mercy Hill Church. I wanted to really quickly just take a moment and talk to you about our results from last year and also talk to you about what our future is in this winter and going forward. Last year we served 46 guests that stayed with us during the 43 days that we were open. We used over 1,200 volunteer man hours to man the shelter. And then we also took on just donations and expenses were covered by the church and our family. This year, we're planning on opening the shelter much earlier. We were kind of late to the game last year. We're going to open the shelter in November as we see the inclement weather. If we look at the history of the weather last year, we would have been open an additional 45 days. And so we're preparing for that. Right now, my board and myself, we're looking for a permanent location here in Shepherdsville so that we can offer services like mentoring, counseling, addiction counseling, as well as temporary sheltering. It is a need that is not being met right now in the community and in the county. And so we're hoping that with partnerships with organizations like Room at the Inn, with Housing First, and some of the drug counseling or drug addiction counseling resources in Louisville, that we're going to be helping with them. And so we're really just trying to meet the needs of our community right now. We realize that the opioid crisis has taken a grip. We saw 3 major pillars of the people that we serviced as guests at the shelter. First was addiction, second was mental health, and third, unfortunately, in our community, we have a lot of people like in America that live month to month on the check. And so it takes just one catastrophe. Like we had one young lady, she was in the hospital for a month. She came back to the room she was renting, and the landlord had rented it out from under her. And so a 65-year-old woman who had never been homeless in her life, who was on Social Security, found herself living in her car trying to heal from a major surgery. And so we took her on and we actually housed her for 3 weeks at the shelter. Now since the shelter, we've had some successes. We were able to find 2 individuals' jobs and get them placed, and they've resumed into normal life. We were able to also help in the housing of 2 people with disabilities. One was a young lady who had aged out of foster care, and another was a young man that had a lot of disabilities, and his caretaker was an addict and was not taking care of him, and so we were able to get him placed. And then also we were able to help in the housing of a family whose husband became unemployed. They lost their trailer, and so over the last 4 months we've been working with them, mentoring them, helping them with budget things, and they now have a new home that they are living in and have successfully got back on their feet. Those are the type of services that we want to offer continuously through Mark 12 ministry once we get into a permanent location. So basically, I'm just here to introduce myself, to inform you of our results, to tell you that we are going to be a resource again this winter for shelter. We had a lot of great partnership with the Sheriff's Department. They actually brought a couple people to us. One was an individual who was stranded on the highway at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and had we not been opened, they would have been in kind of dire straits. And also a gentleman who was let loose from the detention center at 8 o'clock in the evening, who lived in Arkansas and really didn't have anywhere to go, just being released from the detention center, and he stayed with us for a few weeks as well. So we have great support with them. We have great partnership with other ministries like Room to Inn, and we've been working with Housing First. Hopefully once they get their shelter open for the women and children, we'll be able to move people that come to our shelter into their service as well. And so I just open it up. Do you guys have any questions or anything for me?
The only thing is, can you involve Centerstone as well?
We actually been involved in Centerstone. Our mentor, we've trained mentors from in our church, and now they're working for our ministry. So we got Centerstone involved. The linchpin of Centerstone, and what we found with the young lady who had aged out of foster care and the gentleman who was handicapped, we have to have an ID. You have to have a residence. You have to have. So when you're homeless, things like Centerstone, food stamps, all those type of things, they rely on some type of address.
I see.
And so that's why also we're looking at a long-term permanent facility, so that we'll be able to even expand our services in situations like that.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric.
If I may add, so the weather criteria for when you open, is it based on temperature?
Temperature.
Okay, and what is that?
35 degrees and lower.
For a low?
For
an evening low or?
For an evening low.
Okay.
Last year, 3 of the days that were open is when we had in March the real bad rain, and we had heard that some of the people who had trailers in, I forget what trailer park it is, that floods, and they were out of their electric and power and stuff like that. Even though it wasn't under 35 degrees, we went ahead and opened the shelter, and we got information to them to come and stay with us while they were waiting for the power to get back on. So we're flexible with that as well.
You also said there last night, or you said last night, these was all local people.
Yes. Other than the young lady who was stranded and the gentleman who got out Arkansas, that was let loose from Arkansas, this was all Bullitt County residents. We've also been doing a community meal twice a month at Mercy Hill Church. Is where we've been hosting it, and all the people that have been coming to the community meal are from Shepherdsville. And then all the people that we actually sheltered this past winter were Bullitt County residents. Yeah. And if I could just give you guys all a business card. If you guys have any questions, if someone comes to you and is looking for help, support, I'd be happy to help them out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Well, Sarah Smith from the school board.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Sarah.
My name is Sarah Smith. I'm the director of Safe and Drug-Free Schools for Bullitt County Public Schools. I am here just to pose a thought to you guys for you all to talk about and think about. I'm not sure if this place really or this facility is the option or the answer, but I want to at least start here with you all and see what your thoughts are on where I could possibly get some answers, or I could ask for you to help me give me some answers. As you all, just to kind of preface a little bit before I give my request of what I'm asking for, as a community, I do my work in drug prevention, safe schools, bully prevention, and now it's really enveloped into mental health. So we do a lot of work with our kids. We received a grant, I'm not sure if you've seen it in the news over the past couple of weeks, $2 million mental health grant that I'm overseeing to provide trauma-informed care for our students and our staff. And then we also have licensed clinical social workers that are going to be working with our students along with Centerstone. We already have that program. Most importantly, last night we had a really great positive piece for Bullitt County Schools and for our community. You all probably noticed, well, look at that along the back wall. Do you see all those posters on the back? Those are our students that we represent that are models for our drug-free campaign. These are our kids that stand above the rest, that say, I am free of any drugs, and I'm the model for that, and they also provide that for the younger students. We had our new campaign last night, and we were able to have 63 students on 24 posters, and it was one of the best, it's the best piece of my job, because a lot of times with my job, it is bad news and dealing with bad situations, and this was a really great piece. So I will be sending out some new posters for you guys to be able to post out as much as you can, because we want that positive piece for our community and for the things that we do. Also, for you all to put in your calendars, on December the 3rd, our district is having a red ribbon ceremony. We do red ribbon every year. That stands for drug prevention. We give contests for kids, poster contests. You'll be getting probably some invitations, because I always send them out for all of our dignitaries in the community. So if you guys could be there, or at least show some support, then that would be wonderful. And then lastly, my little positive push, I am the chairperson for the Bullitt County Partners in Prevention Coalition. This is a coalition where 12 different sectors of our community come together and discuss what we can do to help our families and our young adults and our children in healthy living. So if you guys are interested in that, I would be glad to have you. We meet once every month. So here's what I'm coming for. We do a lot, obviously Senate Bill 1 is the new law that's coming into effect when it comes to safety for our students. A lot of conversation in regards to trauma-informed care for our students. Conversations about threats and threat assessments and what we do to take care of kids to keep that from happening. A lot of prevention work. We have put a ton of money into our schools in regards to physical safety. If you've noticed in all of our schools, all of our outside entrances have those really pretty window wrappings. We've paid for that so that it's a visible barrier for anyone that is coming into the school so they cannot see our students, or cafeteria, large library windows, that kind of thing, to make it look pretty, but then also to provide actually a security feature for it. We have vestibules in our buildings for double entry. There's a protocol that our front office people have on how they are to ask a student or ask visitors what is the purpose of their visit. May I help you? Before they even give them access to our buildings. We take safety extremely serious, and now I'm asking for you guys to think about this on the other piece. At Bullitt East High School last year, we almost had a student hit by a car because they did not have a visible crosswalk or a sign that was, at least there is a sign out there, but it's just not very visible. And we're running into more and more problems because our high school students, obviously we know that they're very mobile. Some of our students leave in cars, some of them leave on the bus, but then there is a lot of them, especially along Highway 44, that walk and cross the street. We had a young lady at Bullitt Central several years ago that was actually hit by a vehicle. If you all notice in the mornings, especially on Highway 44, which is the highest traffic in our area, it is not very visible. It is dark. And our kids, these are teenage kids, they're going to wear dark clothing. They're not going to really be thinking about trying to be very present and visible when they're walking to school or when they're trying to cross the street. So I'm asking for some advice and then also maybe a solution. Chief Pitcock and I have had conversations as a response to the young man that was almost hit at Bullitt High School. His solution, and he wanted to take care of this too, but his budget just does not have that. We have the solar-powered LED pedestrian signs that you could probably think about somewhere in our community that actually have them, or in Jefferson County that have them. I don't see, there's not any for our schools. And so what I'm asking for is if you guys can find a solution, ask who it is that I need to speak with, because we, at least at minimum, we need one, obviously for both directions of traffic, so it'll be 2 at each location. We need one at least at Bullitt East and at Bullitt Central. And if we think about fairness and across Highway 44 altogether, we've got to think about all of our schools that are there. Old Mill Elementary, I'm sure, has one. Bullitt East has one. If you come down a little bit, I don't think East Side does not have one, just because that's not an area that's going to be crossable at all. But then we have to think about Roby Elementary School, and we also have to think about the 2 entrances, 2 crosswalks at Bullitt Central. I know it's costly, and that's why I don't really have enough money in my budget to do that. But I feel like that this is a need for our students and for our safety, for our citizens, to at least think about that and provide some type of solution. I had some papers here that Chief Pickard gave me. It's $1,600 a sign. I'm not sure if they are any cheaper anywhere else, but I'm going to leave this at least for you guys to be able to research. And then also my business card, if you would like me to present or to pose this to someone else, I will be happy to do that. I don't want to just lay it in your hands and walk away, because I want to see this through and make sure that it's done.
Let me ask you, are you just, what you're looking for right now, you say it's something for a crosswalk or something like that, that is visible for the students and everything? Well,
Mainly visible for our drivers.
right, one of the things the court can do, even with you and the board members and fiscal court, we could get involved in trying to get with Matt Bullock, which is our person, our contact person, everything in District 5, try to get him on board with our representatives and everything, and then sending a letter and everything on behalf of you and the board members and the fiscal court, putting in a request and everything for them to come in and look at this. I think that they would probably react to it with all of us and everything, but I think it needs to be in a letter form and everything where we can do it. Maybe you could put this letter together for us.
Sure.
And it would help this situation and everything. We can put that request in, not only for that, but some of the other schools that you see that we need this for and everything. So if you would be willing to do something like that, I'm sure the court and everything would be very agreeable to do something like that.
There's a gentleman sitting right there that would be able to help. It's a state road. You know, it doesn't matter about how much money we have until we get the approval to put anything on a state road. And that gentleman, Mr. Huff, I don't know if you've ever met him. He's our state rep. He would be the one to have the greatest influence on getting something in the state. And we could help him, you know, just like I said, we would love to help, but get us all together. Matt Bullock, he's our engineer.
He's our engineer for Fifth District.
Can I leave my card with you guys so you all can contact me and we can kind of work on this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's ironic you came in here, I'll be perfectly honest, last Wednesday, I was on the way to Nashville, and it was about probably 6:30, 6:45, I got rear-ended somebody right in front of Bullitt Central. The car in front of me locked it up because there was 3 kids that ran across the school, and I don't know if they were actually in the crosswalk or not at that time, but I even thought at the same time how dark it is. It's really dark through there.
It's a dangerous area, and I'm surprised there's not more issues that occur, to be honest with you.
But when you look at that, if you feel like that money is really nothing. So it's a matter of just following the procedures, because you're talking about Bullitt East and Bullitt Central. If you need 2 signs at each location, you're just talking about $3,400 at each spot. So I think as far as finding the money and the resources, that's not going to be a problem. I think we need to see what permission we need to get assigned.
And I'm not sure, it may be 6,400 because it may be per one sign. And if you're thinking about 2 directions of traffic, you're going to have a sign on each side of the road.
Okay.
So it may be $1,600 per sign, which means at one location, you're going to have one.
Right. You have $3,200 for each school.
Yes.
This is where we need to start everything with Matt Bullock and everything, and one above him is Secretary Thomas, then the next is the governor or left, so I think they would have a very listed year for us, everything. We all need to be on board with the same, information and everything too, and everything.
You know, the state is starting to really recognize that safety, of course, is a big issue when it comes to our schools. They have said that there's going to be funding coming. We already, as a school system, we already see safety as a priority. We pay for all of our SROs at our high schools, 4 of them, one at our alternative school and one at each one of our high schools that we fund. We pay for actually above their hourly rate for that. So we take safety extremely seriously. I'll pay for drug dogs to come to our schools. I do drug testing in our schools. And prior to that, when the funding wasn't available, Fiscal helped provide drug dogs at our schools. Back in the day, I don't know if you all remember that. So I'm just coming back to you, just asking for some partnership and possibly some help.
But as of right now, this is not your budget, so you need additional
No, sir.
resources.
And Sarah, we can help you with this. This is not out of reach because we have some very qualified folks here from Kipling, there's grants available, and it's something we can champion for you.
Great. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
You know, if I may, on that issue, Shepherdsville, the city of Shepherdsville worked at trying to get some lighting and crosswalks there at Bullitt Central a couple of years ago, I believe it was Bob, the city attorney there. And as Joe pointed out, the state highway department, with it being Highway 44, they have to approve anything and everything. And what Shepherdsville, if I recall correctly, ran into, the state ultimately said, yeah, if you want, we'll let you put it. You can't put a crosswalk on a state highway without the state's okay. I tried to get them to put the crosswalk back here in front of the courthouse, going across the street with the parking and so forth and for the church, which we used to have, and the state said no, we didn't qualify for it. But it's my understanding that around these schools over here at Bullitt Central, we did qualify, but they would not spend the money, state money that is, for lighting because they wanted to get a flashing sign for being a crosswalk. One thing that the county can help with, and we've been talking a little bit with Robert Watkins over at the road department about, we've got a sign making machine with the county road department, and we need signs. We can put not flashing signs, but a sign up about crosswalk that the county can make. And we also need one on the east side of Bullitt Central and the west side of Roby Elementary, also pointing out those are 3-lane roads there, and it is against the law for somebody in the opposite side of the road to be passing a school bus when it's loading, and we have 2 or 3 different stops in front of Bullitt Central where the school bus stops going east every morning, and have, with great unfortunate regularity, people running that sign because they're picking kids up on the south side of the road, and people heading west they don't pay any attention to it. So we're talking to Robert about getting a sign made to put up there at the east side, particularly, that says, somehow show that it is illegal to pass a school bus loading on a 3-lane road. And it's kind of confusing for a lot of folks that older, when I got my driver's test, we didn't have any 3-lane roads in Bullitt County. And so I did not remember, it didn't dawn. But the law is if it's a 4-lane road with a median that you can't get across, they don't have to stop on the opposite side. And there's a tremendous number of people that need to get educated about that if it's 3-lane and you can cross over it, it's illegal to pass it. Shepherdsville and our folks have been pretty good. When we got the word from Mr. Rose, he's the Director of Transportation with BCPS, we have been sending folks out to write citations on that. But that's something that we can help with regard to the crosswalk itself. But as Joe pointed out as well, and Tom, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but as much as Mr. Matt, Bullock, he's a really nice guy, but he pays a whole lot more attention to state representatives than he does county sheriffs, I can tell you that.
But Mark, I really do believe that a big percentage of people does not know that they're not supposed to stop. They want 4 lanes, they want 4 lanes. I don't think they actually know that.
I think think you're right, absolutely, I'm convinced of it myself. So hopefully Mr. Barr may help with the education on that. We're putting stuff out, we put it out on Facebook a few times. And then unfortunately, the other thing is Judge Porter can educate him about that.
And then there also, I know you all do this a lot too, but now I'm thinking back to last Wednesday, I know for a fact now remembering that it was in between the crosswalks, so they'll have to be, you could have all the lighted crosswalks in the world, but it really is a school gotta be educated to use the crosswalk.
Yes.
Because I see so many times where accidents do happen, it's not at the crosswalk.
Yes.
You're on the side of the cross.
Right.
And folks get that speed down. You know, the speed limit in front of the school, in the school zones is low, and we're working on that as well. But that, doing 25 miles an hour gives you a whole lot more lead time for somebody, so some kid does what kids do, and act like a kid, and do the unexpected, and you got time to react.
Sheriff Shoulder, the ramp coming from southbound 65 going north and getting off at the Burnham exit and turning right towards Burnham Middle School. You know how there's a very short distance for the entrance to Burnham Middle School. Our pedestrians, our drivers, our community is getting off the interstate and going so fast. There's cause for a lot of issues, and I've heard from the principal several times. And I think when you talked about whoever it was that makes some signage, maybe we can think about putting some type of signage up to where there's a school crossing or school nearby or something to that effect, so that we can try and minimize that and make sure that our drivers understand that our buses are trying to pull out, and there's been calls for accidents a lot in that area.
Again, the fiscal court and the county has been overwhelmingly generous and gracious in preparing up different signs. However, we also, again, it's a 245 is a state highway, and we don't have the authority to put a sign up without getting Matt Bullock's okay.
That's correct.
They have made a school zone sign with flashing lights, but it sits so high that a car driver does not see it. It's up high for the truckers. And it's right there, but if you're also paying attention to the road and not looking up at the sign, you're not going to see it. Because it is between that ramp and Audubon Drive where Burnham is.
We get a letter to the judge, put all this together, everything, and get it to the jury. Judge and everything, and we can all sign it and get to the paper, and everything on the mouth.
Judge, do you mind to send me a so I have your email address?
Sure.
So I'll just send her a copy of her letter.
We'd be happy to, because we have a great relationship with Matt Law.
Great.
Absolutely super.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you all.
All right. Dennis, do you have anything else? Sean? Bill? Bill?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, we've got Bill.
Hey, Judge. Can I speak just very briefly?
Sure. You need poll workers.
I need poll workers. We are looking for poll workers, you all. It is the season for them. We're running short. I'm very low on alternates, and I think like substitute school teachers, you're paid $25 to come to the training. If we place you in a polling location, it's an additional $175. The money is good, but it's a civic thing, and we need you. And what is happening is the people that were my parents' age are dropping out on us. They've been referred to as the greatest generation, and they were. But what we're running into is the people that are 50 and up are not stepping up at the same rate as we're losing them. And right now I'm staring at probably about 4 or 5 alternates to try to get through election 2. So with that, I sincerely will ask to consider it. And if you have Facebook pages, if you have Twitters, Instagrams, whatever they are, then you can post out. They're welcome to contact the county clerk's office. I'm doing a training tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in here. It's going to be a 2-hour training because we have a new piece of equipment that's coming online. Joe?
Is it Thursday or Wednesday?
I'm sorry, I got it in my head today's Wednesday. No, thank you. Thursday evening, the 17th at 6 p.m. If you can call and let us know you're coming, that would be great. If you show up, we will not turn you away. Okay? Sincerely, we appreciate it.
Telephone number you want posted?
543-2513, extension 5. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have something that you've pushed out on Facebook, or I can send it out to all chamber members today?
Let me look and see if I've got it. I know it went out through, I reached out to the school system, and it went out through bus transportation side of the equation, as well as through the teaching side of it by John Roberts. And I have a feeling there are people that are going to come, but we've had almost no phone calls. So we just don't know until we get to Thursday evening. So let me get with you after this, and
That'll reach it close to between 800 and 1,000 people.
that'll be great. I'll get with you as soon as this is over.
Okay.
Thank you all very
Kevin,
much.
send whatever you have on Facebook to me, and let me know, and I'll get it on the sheriff's office Facebook page too.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. And I'd like to take just a minute and remind everybody, October 31st is Halloween. Most all the cities are doing 5-day. So that'll be the time that folks will be out trick-or-treating. One more thing, I'd like to thank State Representative Huff for being here. Kevin, thank you for coming, and Mayor Taylor as well. And I'd also like to give our sincere thanks to the governor for listening to our plea for secondary road funding. It was a nice shot in the arm, especially for those roads who were disrepaired in the county. And we look forward to doing that in the years to come with the relationships that we built. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Rego?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.